We're on the second in the series on Brilliance, and this one's called The Shining. We're not talking about the horror movie The Shining, but it's another kind of shining due to the brilliance of Him. So remember when the fall trees and colors emerge and the sun emerges from behind the clouds and then it hits the leaves? Oh my goodness, the color is bright like nothing we've ever seen and way different than when the sun is behind the clouds. When the light hits them, the brilliance comes alive. The leaves shine. I don't think the best artist in the world can even capture the beauty of the shining with the light when the light falls on trees and causes the leaves to shine brilliantly. We're going to look back at Exodus when Moses went up to the top of the mountain at God's invitation. Chapter 34 says, when Moses got up there, the Lord descended the cloud and stood with him, much like the shining on the leaves. Brilliant. Moses' reaction was to quickly bow his head in worship. Then the Lord visits with Moses and gives him the 10 Commandments, laws to live by, words to ponder, life to live, and Moses goes down the mountain. In verse 29, it says, Moses did not realize that the skin of his face shone because he had been talking with God. Wow. Have you ever witnessed someone's shining face after they've been in the presence of God? And the cool part was that Moses was unaware. If we visit with the Lord, we come away pointing to ourselves for others to look at us and listen to what we saw and experienced with God. And then when we do that, we've missed the shining. Leaves don't broadcast their light in words. They only reflect the light that hits them just right. One time when we were walking, one single leaf on a tree was waving at us and it caught our attention. It was so cool. I read this quote, "This radiance is the effect of God's glorious presence with Him in communion." So if we want to shine, to reflect the brilliant one, to emerge in our world with our faces beaming, we must have communion with God, hear His voice, receive His words, hold them close, and obey. There's another place in the story of Moses when he removed his sandals because he was standing on holy ground, and where Moses hid his face because God's brightness was so bright. But the part of the story to note for this devotional is that Moses was with God and then he was unaware that God's glory was on his face when he went back to the people. I don't like spiritual pride in myself or others. It's repulsive and it's not inviting. But when we've been with God and we're unaware that we're reflecting His image, then others see and want to know Him. Do you know how painters create the illusion of light in painting? The more contrast there is in the values, the brighter the illusion of light will be in a painting. So to make the lights lighter, they make the darks darker. It's counterintuitive to think dark when you want light, but it works. The darker makes for the lighter lights. It's crazy. Have you seen the moon in the daytime? It's barely visible and so light it's often unnoticed, but when the sun sets, we see the moon in all its brightness, fully shining against a black sky. The shining. That's another word for brilliance. And it's what we're called to be, shining lights in a dark world. And that happens when we sit in His presence and listen and obey, so that even when darkness falls, our faces are on fire from the reflecting glow of being with Him. It's another one of those mysteries and stunning experiences that causes us all to stop and get out and look, and it's when the sun hits the fall leaves just right. It's absolutely breathtaking. And we're not to say, look at us, we're on fire, we're shining, but rather to walk among the people and reflect His light and love. A lamp shining in a dark place for all to see.